we're going to have a discussion about data warehousing in the cloud with my guest, Tom French. He is founder and CEO of Supply Chain Coach. Tom, welcome.
Thank you.
And Sam Smith, Client Technology Solutions for Supply Chain Coach. Sam, hi.
Hi.
Thanks to both of you for joining us. Let me start with you, Tom. Describe for me what is the essential challenge that your clients are seeing in this area as it relates to data warehousing and the use of cloud technology.
Yeah, we've been using cloud technology since 2005. And year over year, people are being able to manage what they're doing in their supply chain. What we're finding with cloud technology is when they're multi-tenant served, that they're going to archive that technology and it's a lot harder to get to. So as a result, our clients have come to us and said, we need to fix this problem. We need to do year over year analysis. Plus we want to get more into it. And when you look at cloud-based technology, it's configurable. So you've got all these different buckets that you're required for you to pull the data. You look at a 3PL as an example. If they've got 15 clients, those clients don't have the tools to pull it. The 3PL has to do it. So once you build a warehouse, a data warehouse, they can now give that to the clients to do their analytics. So we've decided that we need to go out and build something to be able to accomplish that.
It sounds like a substantial challenge though. So what we're really talking about is a multi-year data warehouse, is that correct? Why is that so important?
Because year over year analytics is really what's going on in our supply chain. Supply chain changes daily. If not weekly and monthly. So in order to be able to have the data, to be able to look at it, you really need to drill down into the analytics of what you're doing. And the fact that you've got a data warehouse, you can then add data in from your ERP or WMS. So now you can really drill down to cost to deliver or profit to deliver. So you could bring in your sales data and actually add in the cost and really have a true picture of your profit by SKU, by customer, by region. So that's really the importance, because you got to make marketing decisions. Are we making enough money on that product? Should we increase it, not increase it? Is this a good area? What areas should we stock? How could we lower our costs? So all of those analytics are really important. The data is really what drives it.
Yeah, and this is a level of intelligence that you believe that a lot of companies just haven't had up to now.
Well, what happens is they have buckets in their P&L, but the buckets are all rolled up. So you really don't know by product or by customer or by region how well you're doing unless you can bring the cost in by customer, by product specifically.
So what are some of the advantages for users?
Well, the advantages are strategic. There's a lot of different advantages, but strategic is certainly one. Are we stocking at the right place? Could we stock differently so we could do the analytics and run models before we make those decisions? Those are really important, but getting to how or what should you be looking at is really the question most people are trying to get to. And without the data, they're kind of guessing, they're not sure. Data leads them to where they need to go, specifically.
Yeah. Sam, what kind of analytics can be acquired for a supply chain data warehouse?
So the same kind of analytics you can acquire anywhere. IBM outlines three main kinds of analytics that you can derive. The first one is being descriptive, the second is going to be predictive analytics, and the third is going to be prescriptive. So what a descriptive analytic is it's the most basic level of what's going on with your data. It gives you the simplest visibility. For example, a really good descriptive analytic in the supply chain is going to be your cost per mile for your transportation. It just tells you how much am I paying relatively, what are my carriers costing me. That kind of really basic visibility is what a descriptive is. The second level on top of that, once you have your descriptive analytics, is going to be your predictive analytics. Predictive analytics usually work with the course of time that allow you to see what's going to happen and be able to plan for the future based on past data and calculating patterns and formulas. So, for example, a predictive analytic is going to be, for a 3PL, how are my rates going to change as fuel prices rise over the summer? What kind of costs do I need to be prepared for? And the shipper as well needs to understand what kind of costs will they face over the summer with increasing fuel costs. Predictive analytics can also see seasonal trends in your data. A lot of our clients see seasonal rises and falls, and seeing not only how does that happen within the season, but based on this year's data, how is this season going to look this year as opposed to other years? And then finally, your prescriptive analytic is going to be the highest level analytic. A prescriptive analytic is different in a predictive analytic in that it will actually tell you what adjustments you can make. So a prescriptive analytic will tell you, I need to adjust my costs by this much, I need to adjust my rates as a 3PL by a certain amount, or I need to expand to these specific regions are going to be the most profitable for something like a cross-dock or pool point location. And that's what a prescriptive analytic will be, and that's the highest level of analytics.
Do those three different kinds of analytics describe a kind of maturity model within a company? I mean, like a lot of companies are still stuck down at the descriptive part, and they have to move up to that in terms of becoming more sophisticated?
Exactly. So your descriptive analytic is, as you said, the most basic level. So most companies can have a descriptive analytic, even in a very short term, by just looking at what they have. They're just looking at a single piece of data is a descriptive analytic. Acquiring a predictive or prescriptive analytic requires the use of math to be able to either understand the formulas and the processes that are happening inside your business, and then the prescriptive analytic has to understand your business as well to be able to know what to prescribe and what are the next best steps for you to take.
Yeah. Now the cloud is not that mature. It hasn't been around that long, and a lot of companies are still questioning as to whether it's the right way to go. But how does modern technology make cloud applications implemented how easily and quickly?
So what we're able to do with the cloud that we're not able to do with on-site deployments is we're able to deploy really quickly. Since once we get the formula for a TMS or WMS or any system that we want to work with and put the data together into the data warehouse, once we go from there, what we can do is easily get a picture and deploy your server very quickly. So this is really key to implementing quickly, because we're able to deploy servers within minutes, as opposed to in the previous model, what we had to do is you had to work with months to acquire a server and install software. All the software is already configured, the servers are in the cloud, we can implement the solution and get it running very, very quickly, and then spend that time customizing and improving the product specifically for the client, whereas before we were spending a lot of work just doing the basic setup that applies to everyone.
Without any of the concerns that companies initially had about the cloud, and that is in terms of reliability and continuity and stuff like that, security, those things have been addressed, do you feel?
Yeah, so in the cloud is definitely a big concern for security. We keep all of the data very safe because we're able to understand security in one case and then deploy that case for everyone. We don't have to consider security on a site-by-site model. And so we're able to deploy a lot more security and spend more time in that general case rather than looking at what does this specific client need, what does the next specific client need.
And I really think that when you start to talk about SaaS technology or cloud technology, people who are looking at it really understand that the cost to implement is really low, because you're not having an IT staff, you're just having to have the users that understand and connection to webinar. The other part of that is when you start looking at WMS going into the cloud, people who are buying multiple companies will have different ERP systems. They don't have to touch those. They can put a WMS and have visibility of inventory across all of those and be able to utilize those more effectively. So I believe that we're going to see a whole lot more movement to SaaS because it'll help them improve their operations.
As companies get more comfortable with it. Tom, what's the challenges that a 3PL faces if it's not enabled by analytics today?
So the 3PL is a really interesting environment because they'll have a multitude of customers, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and each one of those have different operations. So when you look at the hierarchy of what you set up, like in a TMS or a WMS, each and every one of those have to be pretty separate and be able to access all of that data. So the 3PL can get in there and pull reports any place they want. They have the tools to do that within the technology, but they can't give those tools to all their customers. So those tools isn't available to them today, but if they had a data warehouse, they could provide the warehouse and they could build the tools on themselves. So there is the real benefit that it's going to help the 3PL guys.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for spending time explaining to me the importance of analytics and data warehousing in the cloud and how multi-client situations can be addressed this way. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, I've been speaking with Tom French and Sam Smith of Supply Chain Coach. Thank you very much for watching.